There is a massive misconception that you need to drop $2,000 on an elite Italian import to defend the home or put meat on the table. Let us get one thing straight. The devastating power of a 12 gauge at close range does not care about the logo stamped on the receiver. At 15 yards, one shell of double-aught buck hits with the force of 9 handguns firing at the exact same time. That is unmatched stopping power. But when adrenaline spikes and you pull that trigger, the gun has to run. It must cycle flawlessly. These are the top 5 budget semi-auto shotguns that actually deliver on that promise. Coming in at rank 5 is the Mossberg 940 Pro Series. For years, the older 930 model had a reputation for running dirty and choking on carbon. Mossberg heard the complaints and completely overhauled their gas engine. The scattergun mechanic at play here is the redesigned gas system featuring stepped and vented spacer tubes coated in nickel boron. This means moisture and carbon blow out easily instead of caking onto the piston. You can run up to 1,500 rounds through this workhorse before it needs a deep cleaning. That translates to less time scrubbing and more time shooting. If you want a dedicated hallway sweeper to defend the home, the 940 Pro Tactical is your answer. It features an 18.5-inch barrel and a solid 7+1 capacity. It also comes directly from the factory with an optics cut milled right into the receiver. You can drop a micro red dot straight on it without visiting a gunsmith. It points incredibly naturally, and the gas system eats the punch of the recoil so it does not kick like a pissed-off mule. Time for the honest critic. I give this a Tier 2 soft annoyance. The price is pushing the very limits of what we call budget. Depending on the setup you are looking at, anywhere from $987 up to $1,371. But for that money, you get adjustable length of pull shims and oversized controls right out of the box. Before we move on, you will want to stick around for our number 1 pick. We are going to look at the gold standard of gas guns that gives elite Italian shotguns a serious run for their money at half the price. Taking the number 4 spot is the Winchester SX4. For traditionalists who want Western heritage mixed with modern performance, this is an absolute powerhouse. Built in Portugal under the FN Browning umbrella, the SX4 is a hunting legend that retails between $950 and $1,050. The scattergun mechanic we are diving into here is the active valve gas system. Older gas guns made you flip pistons or swap internal rings to switch between heavy and light ammo. The active valve does it automatically. When you feed it a standard 2 3/4-inch target load, it uses all the gas to cycle the bolt. But when you are in a freezing duck blind and touch off a massive 3.5-inch magnum shell, the valve instantly opens. It dumps the excess pressure out of the forward vent ports on the forend. This saves the internal parts from violently slamming together and drastically reduces the felt recoil hitting your shoulder. Combined with their specialized recoil pad, which directs the stock down and away from your cheekbone, this is one of the softest shooting 12-gauge shotguns on the market today. Let us talk about dual-purpose tension. If you grab the 28-inch barrel model, it is perfectly balanced to swing on waterfowl or bust clays. The center of gravity is pushed slightly forward, making it incredibly smooth to track fast-moving targets across the sky. The controls, like the bolt release and safety, are massively oversized, so you can run this gun flawlessly, even while wearing thick winter gloves. If you need it to defend the home, you can easily source a shorter barrel, but this gun truly shines out in the wild, putting meat on the table. Time for the honest critic. I give this a Tier 3 clean pass. It is a brilliant hunting shotgun. While it does not have the aggressive tactical rails of a dedicated home defense gun right out of the box, its reliability is rock solid. It puts meat on the table without beating you to death. Stepping into the number 3 spot is a Turkish import that is rewriting the rules of the Inertia game. Meet the Retay Gordion. If you know anything about inertia-driven shotguns, you know about the dreaded click. That is what happens when the rotating bolt head does not fully lock into the chamber. You pull the trigger on a gobbler, and instead of a loud boom, you get a sickening metallic click. Retay engineered a brilliant solution, and it completely eliminates that mechanical failure. The scattergun mechanic we are looking at is their patented Inertia Plus locking system. Traditional inertia bolts rely on forward momentum and spring tension to slam shut and rotate into battery. If you bump the gun against a tree branch or try to quietly ease the bolt forward to avoid spooking game, the bolt can easily hang up out of battery. Retay put a heavy-duty torsion spring right inside the bolt head. This spring actively forces the bolt head to rotate and lock tightly into the chamber, even if you ride the charging handle forward as slowly and quietly as humanly possible. For an outdoorsman who demands absolute silence in the brush, this is a massive advantage. It completely removes the anxiety of a dead trigger when you are trying to put meat on the table. Let us look at the dual-purpose tension. If you want a dedicated turkey setup, grab the Turkey Edition with a short 22-inch barrel. It is extremely compact and highly effective in thick woods. If you need a versatile bird gun, the standard 26 or 28-inch barrel swings beautifully on fast-moving doves and ducks. And here is where Retay pulls ahead of the budget pack. Instead of cold hammer forging their barrels to crank out high volume, they use deep bore drilling. They take a solid block of steel and slowly drill out the center. This keeps the molecular structure of the steel uniform and delivers incredibly consistent barrel harmonics. When experts tested a 20-gauge turkey model shooting 1.5 ounces of No. 9 tungsten supershot at 40 yards, it put 239 pellets inside a 10-inch circle. That kind of devastating density rivals a $3,000 custom shop shotgun, but the Gordion only costs between $779 and $949. Time for the honest critic. I give this a Tier 2 soft annoyance. While the gun itself is incredibly reliable and well built, the factory chokes are not strictly recommended for shooting ultra-hard tungsten loads. To get those mind-bending tight patterns, you will need to spend a little extra cash on a premium aftermarket choke tube. But once you do this, scattergun runs flawlessly. Landing at the No. 2 spot is the absolute king of budget utility, the Stoeger M3000 series. This scattergun is widely known across the firearms industry as the Benelli of Turkey, and for very good reason. Stoeger is a subsidiary owned by the Beretta Benelli Group, meaning this budget powerhouse is manufactured under the strict oversight and metallurgy standards of elite European arms makers. You can pick up these rugged platforms brand new for under $700, and it is incredibly common to find them floating on the used market for right around $377. That is an unbeatable price point for a weapon that directly copies the exact internal architecture and geometry of the legendary Benelli M2. The scattergun mechanic running this platform is Bruno Civillani's pure inertia-driven system. Unlike the gas-operated shotguns on this list, the M3000 does not tap any high-pressure gases from the barrel to move the action. When you pull the trigger, the raw force of the recoil pushes the entire gun backward, causing the heavy bolt carrier to stay still and compress a massive, stiff inertia spring hidden right inside the bolt. As that internal spring rebounds violently, it unlocks the rotating bolt head, throws the empty 12-gauge hull clear of the ejection port, and slams a fresh shell into the chamber. Because no dirty gas is ported back into the receiver, all the carbon fouling and burnt powder exits straight out of the muzzle. Your internal action stays completely clean through thousands of rounds. This is exactly why waterfowl hunters absolutely worship this platform. You can drop it in a frozen swamp, coat it in thick mud, or subject it to freezing sub-zero temperatures, and it will keep cycling flawlessly when gas-operated guns choke on their own carbon. Let us break down the dual-purpose tension of this platform. Stoeger leverages this ultra-reliable action across multiple specialized variations to suit your exact mission. If your primary goal is to defend the home, look no further than the Tactical and Freedom series. It packs a short 18.5-inch barrel and a massive 7+1 capacity. It is a compact, heavy-hitting hallway sweeper and truck gun that handles beautifully in tight spaces. But if your goal is putting meat on the table, you can grab the field model featuring a 28-inch barrel that provides the perfect swing and weight distribution for tracking fast-flying ducks and geese across the sky. They even offer a specialized turkey edition wrapped in full camouflage with a 22-inch barrel, featuring an optic-ready cutout milled right into the receiver from the factory, so you can mount a red dot sight without paying a gunsmith. Time for the honest critic. I am giving the M3000 a Tier 2 soft annoyance rating because to make this gun run completely flawlessly, you must perform some mandatory workbench prep right out of the box. When you open the factory packaging, the gun is completely caked in a thick, sticky red shipping grease designed to prevent rust during ocean transit. If you try to shoot the gun with this grease still inside, it will cause severe failure to eject errors and short cycle instantly. You must completely strip the gun down, wash away that red gunk with a heavy solvent, and apply proper lubrication. Furthermore, the factory Turkish extractor and extractor spring are made from a softer metal. Over thousands of rounds, the hook will wear down and slip off the brass rim of your shells. The ultimate pro tip is to buy a $25 genuine Benelli M2 extractor and spring, drop it right into your bolt, and use some blue Loctite on your internal stock nut, because heavy Magnum shells will vibrate the buttstock loose over time. Follow those simple steps. Feed it a steady diet of 3 dram, 1 1/8 ounce loads moving at 1,300 feet per second to properly compress that heavy spring, and you have a bulletproof weapon that runs flawlessly. Sitting firmly at the #1 spot as the absolute undisputed gold standard of budget semi-automatic shotguns is the Beretta A300 Ultima series. Manufactured with pride right at the Beretta facility in Accokeek, Maryland, this incredible platform brings you the legendary, world-class durability and heritage of the oldest firearms maker on Earth, at a price point that completely shatters the competition. While elite Italian tactical shotguns like the Beretta 1301 or Benelli M4 routinely command prices starting at $1,700 and climbing well over $2,500, the A300 Ultima delivers 90% of that elite tier performance for a fraction of the cost, usually retailing between $850 and $1,099 depending on your exact configuration. The scattergun mechanic powering this dominant platform is a highly refined, self-regulating, self-cleaning gas piston system that Beretta directly modernized and streamlined from their high-end A400 hunting lineage. Unlike traditional gas guns that quickly choke out on their own burnt carbon powder, the A300 utilizes a specialized gas valve ring design that scrapes away fouling every single time the action cycles. This advanced mechanics module automatically regulates internal gas pressure. If you feed the tube a heavy 3-inch Magnum shell meant for dropping giant geese, the valve instantly vents off the dangerous excess pressure. If you immediately follow that up with a light, low brass 1-ounce target load meant for sporting clays, the system traps every ounce of available pressure to cycle the bolt with lightning-fast efficiency, without requiring you to change a single internal part. But the real crown jewel feature built into the stock of the A300 Ultima is Beretta's proprietary kick-off recoil reduction system. This mechanism uses dual hydraulic dampeners embedded inside the polymer buttstock that function exactly like the heavy-duty suspension shocks on an off-road truck. It spreads out the brutal backward punch of the 12-gauge over a much longer duration of time, eating up to an incredible 50% of the felt recoil. This makes the A300 one of the softest, smoothest shooting semi-automatic scatterguns in existence, allowing you to stay perfectly flat on your target for ultra-fast follow-up shots without suffering shoulder fatigue during heavy tactical training sessions or long days at the clay range. Let us break down the dual-purpose tension and look at how the A300 stands up against the other heavy hitters on our list. If you choose the classic field or sporting model with a long 28-inch ventilated rib barrel, you have an incredibly balanced bird gun that swings like an absolute dream on waterfowl and upland game. But if you want a dedicated, uncompromising nightstand defender to neutralize threats in a dark hallway, the A300 Ultima Patrol model completely steals the show. Built specifically for home defense and law enforcement security duty, the Patrol model trims the barrel down to a compact, highly maneuverable 19.1 inches, and expands the magazine tube to a massive 7+1 capacity. The entire loading port on the bottom of the aluminum receiver is drastically widened and vatted out from the factory to facilitate flawless quad loading and lightning-fast reloads when your life is on the line. It comes completely outfitted with a precision ghost ring rear sight, a protected front fiber optic bead, a Picatinny rail on top for red dot optics, and a rugged fore-end packed with M-LOK slots for mounting tactical weapon lights. When you compare it directly to our number 2 pick, the Stoeger M3000, the Beretta A300 pulls light years ahead because it completely avoids the punishing recoil of the Stoeger's Inertia system and eliminates the strict requirement of shooting ultra-heavy ammo just to make the gun cycle. And when compared to the Retay Gordion, the Beretta offers a far more robust tactical ecosystem and a significantly softer shooting experience for home defense. Time for the honest critic. I am giving the Beretta A300 Ultima a Tier 1 hard deal-breaker rating if you do not follow one critical mechanical rule out of the box. Because Beretta machines their internal gas rings and heavy-duty recoil springs to incredibly tight aerospace tolerances, this gun requires a strict break-in period to achieve its flawless status. If you buy this weapon, take it straight out of the box and immediately try to shoot cheap, underpowered target loads like Winchester Super Target running at 1100 feet per second, the gun will short cycle and suffer failure to eject hawks. To break the friction on the moving parts, you must clean out the factory packing oils and fire 50 to 100 rounds of high brass field loads or heavy magnum buckshot pushing at least 1250 feet per second. Once you complete that mandatory break-in process to properly seat the gas rings, the A300 Ultima transforms into an absolute tank that will swallow any low brass birdshot you throw at it for thousands of rounds without a single hitch. At the end of the day, a 12-gauge scattergun is just a tool made of steel and polymer. But it is the exact tool you will reach for when the world goes dark and you have to defend the home. It is the machine you will trust in a freezing blind to put meat on the table. Whether you choose the gas-operated perfection of the Beretta A300 or the relentless inertia of the Stoeger M3000, what matters most is the shooter behind the stock. You have the mechanical knowledge now. You know exactly how these budget systems run. Now it is on you to put in the hard work. Buy the shells, run the drills, master the recoil until it becomes pure muscle memory. Do not be a victim. Rack it, ready it, and get prepared.